Good afternoon or good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Latavia Pineda. I am the Southern California Outreach Manager at Small Business Majority. I'm very excited to be able to moderate this excellent panel of small business assistance providers in the LA area. Really quickly, in case you're unfamiliar with my organization, I work at Small Business Majority. We are a national education and advocacy nonprofit that focuses on uplifting and empowering America's entrepreneurs and the self-employed by making sure that you have the resources and education necessary to create a thriving and inclusive economy, higher quality jobs, etc. Part of our work involves education and connecting you with resources in your area, kind of just like through panels just like this, as well as some of our other programming that we have. We host a resource hub called venturize.org, where you're able to find information about access to capital, workplace benefits, and taxes. And we also have some really great information on there about accessing your small business support network. So all of these great individuals are featured and their organizations are featured on venturize.org. So I will actually at the end of this be able to walk you all through kind of that tool that we have and teach you how to use it. And so in the event that you're not able to jot down everyone's contact information today or you miss something, there is a centralized place to find all of that information. And with that, I'm very excited to start introducing all of our panelists today. This is a really great group of people that I'm excited to be able to have in one space together to talk a little bit about the types of assistance that you as small business owners can access throughout the region. I know that oftentimes we hear that there's so much support out there for small businesses, but sometimes it's hard to know how to access it. So that's why we have brought this group of people together to teach you a little bit more about what it actually looks like to access some of these tools. So first, I would love to introduce you all to Claudia Shaw, who is a business advisor with the Los Angeles Regional Sbdc Network. So if you're unfamiliar with the SBDCs are small business development centers that exist across the country. And we have a really great group of small business development centers here in California and in LA in particular. Also very excited to introduce you to Sonia Blake, who is the president and CEO of the Valley Economic Alliance. The Valley Economic Alliance services a good chunk of Southern California, and I'll let Sonia kind of go ahead and go more in depth about their exact programming in just a bit. But thank you so much, Sonia, for joining us today and bringing all of your great insights to this panel. Also very excited to introduce you to Elaine Rodriguez. Elaine is a really great advocate for small businesses throughout the LA area, and she currently serves as an SBDC advisor with the Los Angeles Regional Sbdc Network. Additionally, Erica Hernandez has joined us from Inclusive Action for the City. Erica serves as a technical assistance associate with Inclusive Action for the City. And in case you're wondering about some of the assistance out there for very small micro enterprises, I definitely encourage you to get in contact with Inclusive Action for the City. Next up on our great panelist list is Elizabeth Tutas, who is the community manager for Grid 110. And I'm very excited to have Elizabeth here to talk about some of the different programs that Grid 110 is offering right now and some of the upcoming programs that will be available throughout the summer. We also have Brent Umai with us today, who is the co-founder of OmniWorks, and Brent will also be able to speak to some of the new programs available to small businesses in the area. And with that, I'm very excited to introduce you all to Marsha Olsen, who is the Director of Community Partnerships and Programs at Found LA, and Marsha will be giving some opening remarks today. Marsha?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for the intro. I'm Marsha Olsen. I am the director over at Found LA. We are a nonprofit initiative that's based out of the Warwind Foundation, dedicated to supporting entrepreneurs. That looks like helping entrepreneurs get access to capital, helping them get access to education, and also a community, bringing you all together to learn from each other. And that's kind of what brings us here today. We're doing a partnership with Small Business Majority where we're putting on a variety of events like this, making sure that all of you are supported with the resources you need to help get you through COVID-19. We know it's been a terrible year for small business, and we want to make sure that no one has to close up shop permanently. So all of these events are in an effort to make sure that you are supported. I just dropped my email into the chat if you have any other questions. We wrapped up a grant program recently for small businesses, and we will be doing another one later this year. So stay tuned for more from Found LA, and really excited to have you here learning from all of these really amazing representatives of these organizations, and happy to support you.
Thank you so much, Marcia. And with that, I'm going to open up the floor to each of our panelists to give a brief 2-minute introduction of their organization and the specific type of work that they're doing. So let's go ahead and start with Claudia's first on my screen. So I'll go ahead and let Claudia introduce the Small Business Development Centers in East LA.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here sharing this panel floor with all of you. Amazing resources. And Sbdc, the Small Business Development Center. We are an organization that is all over the United States. And here in California, we have 5 regions. I represent the LA region, so LA County, Ventura and Santa Barbara. And what we do at the Sbdc is we offer free advising one-on-one for your business. It can be an existing business or it can be a startup. The kind of advising that we offer is what type of licenses and permits you need, how can you start the business, access to capital, business plan, government contracting, import, export, social media marketing, whatever you can think about your existing business or that business that you want to start up. Also, we have a lot of webinars. We have webinars in Spanish, English, and sometimes other languages. And my focus with the program that I manage, especially for Spanish speakers, that we do have webinars in any type of topic that you can think that will help your business succeed and grow. I will share with you later on in the chat the website and important information that you need to have in order for us to support you. So remember, everything is free. We don't charge for our services. We are founded by the SBA and by the Governor of California. So that's the beauty of the program, that we can offer this for you without any cost. It has been a hard year. We all know that. So throughout this pandemic, we have been supporting a lot of our small businesses through how to apply for the PPP, the California Relief Grants, and all these grants and programs that SBA and other organizations have put together in order to support you, in order for you to be able to be resilient and be able to go through this pandemic. So you're not alone. We're here to help you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Claudia. And I really would just like to echo that, the SBDCs have so much great resources to offer. And I really encourage you that if you've never worked with the Small Business Development Center before, to make an appointment, get that introduction in place. And next, I would love to ask Erica to provide us with some information about inclusive action for the city.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to share this space with you all and to be able to provide some information and also to learn myself, what other resources are available out here in LA. And Inclusive Action for the City is an economic development organization. We're housed in Boyle Heights, and our organization focuses a lot on policy and economic development initiatives in order to support low-income communities that don't necessarily have traditional access to capital. So with our programming, we have some loan programs that support small businesses, particularly micro-entrepreneurs and mom and pop sort of, brick and mortar shops. Most of our portfolio is street vendors and undocumented communities that don't, have access to a lot of traditional forms of capital, like I mentioned earlier. And during this pandemic, we've really shifted to have a lot of support in terms of cash assistance to micro entrepreneurs. So we've supported a lot of our clients, through all of the grant programs, loan programs that are accessible to businesses, although they're not necessarily programs that, Inclusive Action actually organizes themselves. So with our program, what makes us extra, I think, special is that during the duration of a loan that someone might have with us, that business also gets technical assistance during the duration of the loan. So that means that if a business is looking to get support on figuring out how to market their products, how to work on getting a commercial lease right now with businesses that are having so much difficulties with, paying rent. We support folks with negotiations or support folks with getting access to counsel so that they can get, this sort of support. So we really try to focus on holistic support for our clients, because we understand that, especially for micro entrepreneurs, your business is also your, personal livelihood, and you are your business. So we try to be as supportive as possible of the person as an individual, as well as assisting in the business. I will be putting my email and my phone number in the comment section. So feel free to please email me with any questions. And if you're more comfortable with calling or texting, feel free to do that as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Erica, and thank you so much to you and the rest of the Inclusive Action team for all of the great work that you've been doing in the area. Next, Sonia, could you tell us a little bit about the Valley Economic Alliance?
Sure, happy to. Thank you so much, Latavia, for organizing, and Marcia for organizing today, and all of my panelists, my sister panelists who are here, and fellow panelists. So I'm Sonia Blake with the Valley Economic Alliance, and the Alliance serves the San Fernando Valley region. And so we have 5 cities that we focus on: Burbank, Calabasas, the city of Los Angeles, that is the San Fernando Valley region of the city of Los Angeles, and then Glendale, as well as the city of San Fernando. So it's quite a large region with about 64,000 businesses. So we really focus on retaining and creating jobs. So to really impact the global economy of our region, we are looking at job creation and job retention as a way to really inject a lot of vitality and a lot of activity into our economy and really improve the overall quality of life. So we're looking at the small business picture from within a context of the overall, the region, our economy, and building a place that businesses will want to come to and want to stay in. So in particular, we help employers. And when we're looking at how we help those employers, it could be through business assistance. It could be connecting companies to our local elected officials. All of our 5 mayors and our many city council members, as well as on other governmental levels, are involved with our alliance. It could mean connecting to local colleges and universities. They're a part of the alliance as well. It could mean any number of different approaches to help a company to thrive and grow and to create new jobs. So we're thrilled to be a part of this. We conduct webinars. We're doing a webinar coming up on exporting. We just did one on procurement and contracting. We're looking at how we can activate the San Fernando Valley region tech ecosystem. These kind of broader regional concepts. We're looking at land use and transportation, these kind of sweeping ideas. And then of course there is the one-on-one advising. So if a company is located within our 5-city region, we would take kind of a concierge approach, see what that business needs in order to connect to the various technical assistance providers, as well as government agencies, educational institutions, and whatever other kind of contacts the company may need. Glad to be here.
Thank you so much, Sonia, for that incredible overview. And thank you also for your continued support of small businesses throughout the region. Next, Elaine, would you be able to give us a little bit more information about the Sbdcs, any specific programs you want to highlight? And again, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, of course. Good morning, everybody, and happy Wednesday. I hope you guys are off to a good start this week. So I think in addition to what Claudia brought up about our network, I would add that we're probably one of the most robust and comprehensive networks of technical assistance providers. We have here in the LA region, we have 8 centers and providing services across the 3 counties with hundreds of advisors. I think our last count was like 150, 160, I think. But I specifically focus on specialty programs. And so we actually have 3 specialty programs, 4 with Claudia, all in Spanish, but I focus on Invest, EDC Invest, which is the program region-wide focusing on technology development. So we support over 800 tech companies. So if you're looking to get one-on-one advice and training, investment relations in the technology field, we are working on that. We also have our international trade program, which supports companies that are looking to go into global trading and are looking to do international vendor management, things like that. We have a lot of different advisors who are, super plugged into the ecosystem. We work with all of the different ports across LA. And then we also have our Access to Capital team, which is a specialty team that just focuses on everything on capital. So everything from small loans, micro loans, all the way up to VC investments and private investments. And I think we do a really good job. And pre-COVID, we did a really good job about getting around across LA, across Ventura, across Santa Barbara. But now that we're virtual, I think we've expanded our services even more. And we work with, I think, close to like 10,000 businesses on a yearly basis. And so we see a lot of people come through our doors. We have a lot of different relationships. I think we work with almost everybody here on this group. So, it really truly takes a village to raise a startup, to raise a small business, and to support our economic development.
Thank you so much, Elaine. Wow, I did not know that 10,000 business number. That is remarkable. So thank you to Claudia and Elaine and all of our other incredible Sbdc advisors for all of this hard work. And now to shift gears a little bit into kind of different type of assistance, I would love to hear from Elizabeth regarding some of the work that Grid 110 is doing. And if you could give us an overview of the organization as a whole, that would be great.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. My name is Elizabeth, and I'm the community manager for Grid 110, which is a nonprofit and startup accelerator. If you've never heard the term startup accelerator, it just means that we help accelerate your business. So we help you take it to the next level, whatever that means for you. If you're looking to fundraise, if you're looking to expand your team and your hiring. So we focus on those areas. So everything that you've heard right now in terms of mentorship, typically office space pre-COVID, and a community of entrepreneurs is what we provide. What's unique about us is that our mission is really to foster a community of inclusivity. We know that especially if you're a first-time founder or a solo founder, or this is your first time starting a business, it can be a really lonely journey, especially through COVID. There have been so many challenges along the way that entrepreneurs have faced. So we're really here to provide an environment and a community that feels safe for people, that feels inviting to people, no matter what their background is, which is one of my favorite things about our community. So we have worked with a lot of female founders. We've worked with a lot of underrepresented founders and small business owners here in LA. And yeah, that's what we do. Happy to answer any more questions, and I'll put my email in the chat as well if you want to follow up as well.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And I really would like to echo kind of those feelings of isolation that come up for entrepreneurs. It's something that we've been hearing time and time again, especially throughout this pandemic, where we know that you may be in really hard situations as entrepreneurs of, having to encounter these issues for the first time of, maybe you're having to confront economic hardship, and talking about that with your family and your friends can be really difficult. But that's why we wanted to bring you all this great group of panelists who are here to kind of support you and help you navigate through those really hard times. So thank you so much for mentioning that, Elizabeth. I think it's super important to highlight during these times. And next, and finally, but certainly not least, Brent Umai from OmniWorks. Brent, if you could give us a little bit of an overview of OmniWorks and all of the great work that you guys are doing, it would be spectacular.
Sure. Thank you for having us. And I am so impressed with the panel that we have today. This is the network of support that Los Angeles has for all of you guys out there. And that's really one of the things OmniWorks was created to do, is to make sure that we run programs, and we also really love to be a connector. I think that may be one of our unique things, is once you come into our world, we have certain things that we can help you with, but we're really, really happy to pass you along to the next organization on your journey as we all kind of cover different areas. OmniWorks was created about 3.5 years ago. We are a relatively small company. Like Grid 110, we're very focused on a cohort-based program. So we run distinct programs for a specific amount of time, but like going to school, you kind of get to know a certain group of people on a more intimate basis. I think to go along with that idea, entrepreneurship, small business ownership is often really, really isolating. And so we put a lot of effort into creating community. We do networking events. We also do small group mastermind groups. I don't know if you guys know what masterminds are, but it's really a peer learning environment where 6 or 8 people get together on a monthly basis and form really deep relationships and share about what they're going through and some of their best practices. It's a great way to get a sounding board with some other entrepreneurs. So that's one of the things we really like to focus on, is bringing those to the community. As well as I said, we are running a couple of programs. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But we also focus on underrepresented founders, women founders, people of color. We're running a couple of programs that are really targeted toward women entrepreneurs who are dealing with COVID and having to try to pivot and re-energize their business for the new economic realities that's going to be starting up soon. And then we like to partner, as I said. So we're running a program with East LA College. We've run programs with the LA Urban League. We ran programs in Long Beach with another group down there. So our real mantra is bring the community together and share all these great folks' work, and make sure that you, as a business owner, know where to go with whatever specific need that you have. So we're happy to help be a bit of a guide for you, and encourage you to take advantage of all the great resources that LA has to offer, because it is substantial. It's a lot more than many owners think, but it's really a great network that can help build your business.
Thank you so much, Brent. All of your points were incredibly well articulated, and I can't emphasize enough how important it is to at least, have some of these names on your mind as business owners while you kind of navigate these trying times. And with that, I'm very excited to begin our Q&A portion of today's session. For those of you who are unfamiliar with this Zoom layout, I know we're in the webinar layout and not the typical meeting layout, but there is a Q&A function where you can add all of your questions. We will have, we will be taking audience questions throughout this session, and as well as at the end. I do have a few questions set up for our panelists, and I would love to start with Elaine. Elaine, could you give us a definition of technical assistance? Sometimes I'll ask business owners, do you think you need technical assistance? And they hear that word technical and they assume it means, no, I already have a website, or, and I'm good on social media, So I think that sometimes that combination of words can be a little confusing to people. So I would love to hear kind of from your end as an advisor, what it means to you to receive technical assistance.
Yeah, I think, first of all, yeah, we get that question a lot, especially, I work in tech. And so a lot of times people think, oh, technical assistance, especially in tech, and people come to me, they're like, can you build me a website, right? Can you, can you build me an app? Like, we're here so you can build me an app. And it's not quite what we're thinking about in terms of technical assistance. So when I think of technical assistance and what I share with clients, it's, it's information, it's knowledge sharing, it's general guidance that, is provided typically, like I said, for the Sbdc in a one-on-one setting or in a training setting, right? Whether it's a workshop, whether it's a webinar, a cohort, an accelerator, and it's given by specialists or experts in any given topic, in any given vertical. I know for us, we have, people that focus on very industry specific topics, whether it's a restaurant specific, whether it's app building specific, and you can go into, different depths of, if it's apps, it's like, is it healthcare apps? Is it education apps? Is it, right? So it's in a lot of different fields, but it really is about information, knowledge sharing. And I think for those of us that are advisors, it's really about us sharing kind of like the do's and don'ts, and sharing with you all of the things we've been through to get our businesses off the ground, so that, hopefully you won't make the same mistakes, or that it'll be a little bit easier for you. And it is one of the first things when I, when I first started my business, was the first thing one of my coaches said, you got to get a business advisor, you got to get yourself a good accountant, and then you got to get yourself a community that can support you through the ups and downs, because, you know, as Elizabeth mentioned, it's a lonely road and it can be very difficult. So yeah, information, knowledge sharing, general guidance about very specific things from, you know, specialists or experts in the field.
Thank you so much, Elaine. And I love what you said about having a business advisor, an accountant, and a community. I think those three things will get you so far as a business owner. And a couple of things I want to really highlight from what you were saying, you know, for a lot of business owners, I think it's important to know that of the vast majority of technical assistance providers are also entrepreneurs. You know, they have been through that journey of opening and operating a business. So very important to keep that in mind. You know, these aren't just people who are just kind of talking at you with information. It's a lot of it is experience based. And also really wanted to highlight that, you know, TA can be as narrow or broad as you need it to be. There are, like you said, those industry specific advisors, and that's, I think, where you can really go beyond kind of just that, some of the more basic knowledge, into kind of really being able to grow your business by getting in contact with someone who is kind of more industry specific. And I think that there are a lot of those people throughout the LA area, those very specific specialized advisors. So I definitely think that if you have worked with a technical assistance provider before and you think you've gotten all the information that you can get, keep doing it, but maybe go more specialized. And I think that that is something that a lot of folks tend to maybe overlook or not even really know exists. I know that when I was first getting introduced to all of the different TA providers, that was something that was shocking to me. Oh, there are people who focus on fashion, or there are people who focus on app development, like you said. So I think that getting a little bit more information can never hurt. But thank you so much, Elaine. I really appreciate all of your remarks and all of the work that you've been doing with our small business community. My next question is for Erica. What would you say to a business owner who maybe thinks that their business is too small or informal to receive any of the assistance that we've heard about on this call?
Thanks for that question. I think that that's a really good and important question to ask, because there's so many small businesses and micro entrepreneurs, and especially right now in the pandemic, so many individuals have lost their jobs and have had to transition to entrepreneurship in order to make a living, right? And I think that, you know, sometimes small businesses see, oh, you know, there's technical assistance for PPP loans or technical assistance out in, you know, like the real world is spoken as if you have a brick and mortar shop, or you have to have a certain level of, you know, quote unquote success in order to be a business and to be, you know, receiving some sort of assistance. But I think, you know, there is no such thing as a business that is too small to receive technical assistance. I think that Elaine did a great job in describing that technical assistance is as broad or as narrow as you want it to be, or what your needs are. So, you know, for a smaller business or a newer business, you might not even know the permits that you need to actually run your business. You might not know what licenses you need. You might have technical issues in terms of, you know, barriers to access to any of these things. Like, you know, you might not have a cell phone that, you know, is a smartphone that lets you go online to search for this information. You might not, you know, have language access or capacity to actually fill out an application, or go to, you know, right now because of COVID, to the county offices or the city offices to actually get support. So, you know, there's a number of things that as a newer business, or even a business that, you know, you might consider more informal, that could really, you know, get support from a technical assistance provider despite not being a bigger business. Businesses and, you know, individuals have to file taxes. If you don't know who to go to for your business taxes, or if those taxes aren't filed correctly, then you might run into problems. You know, with the pandemic, there's been so many programs that require certain, you know, documents be submitted in order for you to be eligible, and you had to have had, you know, filed your taxes in 2019. But what if you didn't, because you thought you were too small to do that? So now, you know, you almost shot yourself in the foot because you didn't know better, right? So, you know, getting technical assistance, sometimes it's just about introducing yourself, your business to a technical assistance provider and finding out what you don't know. And, you might not think that you need support in one way, but there's always something that a technical assistance provider can support you with. And I think that all of us here really, are connectors. So whether we ourselves can help you or not, we can definitely, move you along, like Brent mentioned, and get you some other support, and, just get your business, if you want it to grow, to get to that next level, or at least make it sustainable for yourself.
Thank you so much, Erica. I think that that's a perfect segue into a question I have for Claudia, kind of elaborating potentially on like why it is important for folks to get connected with the technical assistance provider. Erica mentioned even just having that introduction in place so that when it does come time for assistance, it's there. But do you have anything you'd like to add there on kind of the importance and the why of getting connected with your small business ecosystem?
Yes, thank you. It is very important to know that the road to start a business doesn't need to be lonely. You don't need to do it by yourself. There are so many options here in LA County that has been put by our government, is free of cost. I think it's definitely super important for you to take advantage of those, and you don't need to do it by yourself. It can be very overwhelming, and that's why we are here to support you. As Elaine mentioned, we have 100+ advisors specialized in so many different kind of areas and topics that I think it will be so important for you to take advantage of. So you are not only assigned to one advisor. It depends on what you need. You need social media and marketing. So we will assign you an advisor that can specialize and help you grow in that area. Government contracting, import, export. So we have all these specialties that you may need, that guidance and orientation, that you may need to have that support for you to be able to grow in your business. So take advantage of that. You don't need to do this by yourself. You shouldn't be doing this by yourself. So that's why we're all here to support you with the different programs, with the different cohorts, with the different things that we all do in order for us to be able to help you succeed and be able to continue. So it is important for you to really rely on these resources.
Thank you so much, Claudia. And I love that. It doesn't have to be a lonely road. I think I'm going to steal that one from you, Claudia. But I think with all of that, I would love to hear from Sonia kind of a success story, an example of a time where you saw kind of someone taking advantage of technical assistance and it working out in really a positive way, really showing us why it is important to do this and how someone can reap the benefits of these, free tools that are out there.
Absolutely. So there are so many wonderful stories, it's like this beautiful kaleidoscope of all these business owners that come through our respective doors, and we get to help have this ripple effect and change those lives and those families and benefit the economy overall. So one pixel in that picture might be a restaurant that we worked with, a soul food bakery in the San Fernando Valley in the Van Nuys area. And just the owner had come from a very challenged background, had moved her family out here, was homeless for a time, but then got situated, started a business, got her storefront, and just really needed some extra hand holding to apply for some of the emergency funding grants that were available last year. So our business advisor was able to sit down with her over Zoom and just kind of go through that to take some of the pressure off and the stress off and help her to get prepared and compile the documentation needed and then complete the application and brainstorm through those ambiguous questions. What do they mean by that? And how do we, interpret that? And get that accomplished. So there's this great sense of accomplishment when you're able to, as a business owner, you're able to complete that application, close that chapter, and then of course there's the waiting to see if you get it or don't get it. But at least you can complete the application, stop in the midst of your busy day and get that accomplished. It could be a story that's something like that we worked on, that they have about 3 employees. We also have been helping a bigger company. They're trying to onboard hundreds of janitors to help LAUSD and cleaning the schools, working on cleaning the schools before they open. So we worked with them and connected them with some providers that can help to recruit employees very, very quickly. So it can be small businesses, it can be large businesses. The idea is there is success out there when you partner with organizations like ours to help you get the job done.
I love that. Thank you so much, Sonia. Yes, there's definitely a little bit of an equation for getting to success quickly. And I think that a lot of you are factors in that equation. So thank you so much for articulating that really great example. Next, I really wanted to hear from Elizabeth a little bit about, how when you're talking to a business owner who's never heard of an accelerator, an incubator program, what are these cohorts that you're talking about? Could you give us really a very simplified explanation with a few examples of what it looks like to work with an accelerator program?
Yes, so the term startup incubator and startup accelerator are often used interchangeably. There are some minor differences for both of them. So a startup incubator often is open-ended in terms of the time or the length of the program. Um, and it's often more one-on-one support, while a startup accelerator oftentimes happens within a cohort. So you work with a group of people. For us, it's 20 companies. So we work with 20 companies at one time for 3 months. So there's a limited sort of time window of when you're actively working on your business. But what it looks like when you're part of our program, so you apply. So that's the first step. So there is an application process. Once you are accepted, once you're one of the 20 companies that we work with, you go through a curriculum. So there is a curriculum every single week where we bring in speakers. We have our EIRs who are entrepreneurs and residents. So these are kind of our in-house professors who teach these lectures, who are entrepreneurs themselves, or they have raised money themselves. And then you also do a lot of work outside of those weekly sessions. So we have a small group format where you are split into smaller groups out of the 20 companies and you meet outside of your weekly sessions and you just get more additional support. You talk about what's going on in your life and how you can get advice from other founders as well. So there's a curriculum, there's the support, you get to be around other founders. Something that I focus on specifically in my role is our alumni population. So a lot of these programs, especially when there's a limited time window, you go through the program and then you're done with it and then you're kind of back on your own. So what's unique about Grid 110 is that we have a continued relationship with all of our founders, which is what I focus on in my role. So I'm constantly thinking about, okay, what kind of workshops can we continue to offer beyond the 3 months? Can we create a mini cohort for alumni founders? So right now I'm working on a fundraising program for our founders who went through cohorts 2 years ago, who are now ready to fundraise. Another neat aspect is that we have a lot of corporate partners that we partner with. So they provide discounts and services that a lot of our founders use. So whether it's Hootsuite or Notion or Typeform, by participating in our program, you also get access to all of these really incredible perks. And all of it is for free. And we don't take any equity. So it's really a win-win situation for our founders and small businesses.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I know that I personally sometimes will have to Google incubator accelerator before I say them. So I think very important to note that they're not interchangeable, but there are so many perks to working in a program that really helps you develop your business in a really hands-on type of way. And I think that's what's really important, is that hands-on nature. So Brent, I would love to pose to you the same question I posed to Sonia, kind of a success story that for you highlights the importance of working in either an incubator or an accelerator program.
Yeah, the stories are, as Sonia said, there are many. And we want you guys out there to be the next great success story coming out of our programs. I'll talk about two very quickly. One was a startup by a guy, and these were both people who came through our East LA College incubator program. And when he lives in East LA, grew up in East LA, went to Cal State LA, did design and got a degree there. Ex-military guy, was in the Marines. So he's not a young man, but he wanted to start a business. And he had this great idea for this sports sandal, which was based on Anahuac culture, which is like the Mayan Aztec culture. He's very proud of his heritage. The other thing that he noticed was there's not a lot of businesses, manufacturing businesses in East LA. What can I do about this? And he's sitting around his kitchen table and he decides, you know what? I'm going to develop this sports sandal idea based on the statues of Mayan culture. He's a big art fan, and he saw that they had like this two-toe post design. So your two toes were supported by the straps. And he decided, that's what I'm going to do. I want to bring manufacturing to East LA. I'm going to make this a business. And so we came into our incubator program. He had a few books about how to make sandals. But he didn't really know business. He didn't really know sandal making either, but he had a vision and a drive. And so through our program, which was about a 9-month period of time, he learned all his business basics. He figured out how to do a business model. How much would I make? How much would it cost? He started hand making the sandals, but to do that, he needed to raise some money. So we put him into this kind of a sidecar product that was all about crowdfunding, which was another 6 weeks that he focused really on crowdfunding. And he goes like, I don't know anybody. How am I going to do this? None of my friends are rich investors. But he put the word out, and he was able to raise $5,000 was his target, so he could buy a couple of pieces of equipment that he needed to start hand making these sandals. And he's still up and running. He now has T-shirts. He has these sandals. He's selling them on Shopify. And while he's not created huge amount of businesses in East LA yet, he's on his way. And he's created a business for himself and a job for himself. And we couldn't be prouder of that kind of progress. But it takes time and effort and the continued support. I can't emphasize how much that is really important. So as Elizabeth was talking about that alumni network, get to know some other people who can be in your corner and help. The other one we did was somebody who just came through our program recently. She was doing this sort of a signage element for Uber and Lyft drivers. Realized Uber and Lyft, their business kind of cratered during the pandemic. So she pivoted in our program, and that's another thing you can do if your business isn't working quite the way you want it to, or the realities have changed. You could pivot with the help of one of these support organizations. Sbdc will talk to you about redoing your modeling and how to talk to customers, how to reassess your product mix. And this woman came in and she flipped her business to be signages now for the cities. Where people can communicate and get information about what's going on in their cities, for businesses in their neighborhoods, all basically posted on like bus shelters and buildings. And through our program, again, it's all about your network, and all these folks here have great networks to outreach. We put her in touch with a few cities, and she's working with in the city of LA, some smaller cities, to try to work on a test pilot program to get her product going. So she was able to switch from a product that had limited opportunity given the pandemic to a brand new opportunity that she thinks is going to be a really big opportunity that she can sell as cities are looking to communicate better with their populations. So those are the kinds of services that an incubator can do. It's not about coming to one-off webinars. It's more about a longer-term engagement where you're really working on your business. You're getting different inputs from different folks, entrepreneurs, experts, to come out the other end with something that's really actionable and takes you to the next level.
Perfect. Thank you, Brent. And I think that is a perfect segue into one of the questions that we just got in the chat. If you could just give us some dates for some of the programs that you guys have coming up, and then as well, if you could give us some information about Collab, I think that would be great.
Sure. So Collab is our online product or a platform that anybody can join. There's, you can just join and be made aware of all the programming we do. We're trying to post a lot of programming from other people as well. And then we talk with you. We understand where you are in your business and try to direct you to either programs OmniWorks is running or to programs and resources from all of our friends on today's call. Basically, we have a new program coming up. Applications are starting now. This is specifically tailored for women of color who have existing businesses who've been negatively impacted by COVID. And it's going to start, the applications run from now, probably next week we'll put out the applications till May 10th, and the cohort kicks off on the 17th. It's going to be sort of limited to 25. We're really, like Grid 110, we want it to be a small group so you get a lot of hands-on attention. But we'll be running that 3 times throughout the year. So love to help our women entrepreneurs out there who are maybe having a little difficulty or needing to figure out where to go next. So we encourage you to take part in that program. And then later, more in June, we'll be launching a new program with East LA College. Again, really open to both existing businesses, and that one we focus a little bit more on people who just have an idea or maybe want to turn a side hustle, a hobby kind of thing you're doing on the side into your full-time job. An incubator program like ours is a great place to test it, make sure it's actually a business you want to do full-time before maybe leaving your day job. But we can help you on that kind of path to developing a business as well.
Thank you so much, Brent. And Elizabeth, same goes for you. If you could tell us a little bit about some of your upcoming programs, that would be really helpful.
So our applications for our next cohort, which is our summer cohort, are currently open. So you can go to our website, which is grid110.org, and submit your application, as well as check out more information and an FAQ section. We are also hosting a virtual info session from our team where we go in depth into the whole application process and answer any additional questions. So if you do have questions, please attend that session as well. And the applications will close on April 30th at 5 p.m. Really quick note, not often, but sometimes I hear from founders that they feel like they're not quite ready to apply, or they feel like their business isn't quite perfect yet, or it's not quite ready yet. I hear this a lot from female founders, and a lot of it is imposter syndrome. So I would say if there's even a tiny bit of curiosity, or if you feel like this sounds like an amazing program, don't overthink it. Just submit an application. And same goes for all of the other resources that you've heard from today. Reach out, ask for help, because you just never know. How life-changing a program or resource can be for your business.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I couldn't agree more. A lot of the times people will say, oh, I'm not ready for that, or my business is just an idea. But that's kind of the point of so many of these programs and the assistance out there, is to take you from an idea or something that's a little bit less developed to, your end dream goal. So thank you so much for touching on that. And then I would also like to open the floor up to any of the other panelists to discuss any of their kind of new programs that they may be having, or any different programming they want to highlight. That would be really helpful.
We already closed 2 of the programs that we were working on. One was to support small business owners who wanted to transition and become an LLC, an S Corp. There was a program, and we just closed it on Friday. But my point into this is that please be looking into our website for the Small Biz LA that I already shared, where we post a lot of these opportunities and programs. We had one especially for Spanish speakers called La Academia that we did with USC, where we were supporting also Spanish speakers, small business owners, and how to grow their existing businesses. So there is always something happening at the Sbdc in the different locations that we have. And it's hard just to share it in every single platform. So we do share it in our Small Biz LA website. And that's why I wanted to guide you guys there in order for you to be able to reach into these programs that are very specific. We had the restaurants program, so there is always something happening.
Thank you so much, Claudia. And Erica, is there anything that you wanted to highlight from Inclusive Action for the City? I know that you, I'm not sure if your most recent loan program is still open, but any other programs, or that one if you have more information?
Yeah, and sorry, Marsha, I saw that you were ready to say something, so I don't know if you want to go first. Okay, but with Inclusive Action for the City right now, we have a loan program that just very recently opened. It's called the South LA Economic Inclusion Loan Program. And this is especially only for businesses that are located in Council District 8, as well as businesses that are in Council District 10 that still fall under South LA. And this loan program is from $1,000 to $15,000, and there's no payment for the for 6 months. Not all council districts, so only Council District 8 and Council District 10, only businesses in South LA. And that's one of the programs that we have. We also have our ongoing SEMIA fund, which gives loans up to $30,000, but the interest rate is different, and that one is open to everybody in LA County. And I think I'd just like to emphasize that Inclusive Action also only supports small, like micro businesses. So if your business has more than 5 full-time employees, then we would probably refer you to another organization. But I think that, just going back to the power of, advocating for yourself and asking questions and seeking support, feel free to reach out regardless of whether or not you think you're eligible, and we can probably still connect you to a different program or provider.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Erica. Marcia?
Yeah, so I just want to build off what Erica was saying. I think that, the path to entrepreneurship has so many different obstacles and hurdles for different people. You're all in different places with your businesses. You all have different needs. You all have different questions. The great thing about this support network here in LA is that we all know each other and work with each other and want the best for our entrepreneurs. So if you have a question about a loan, but maybe it's not a good fit for one of the programs that Erica mentioned, we will connect you to a lender that we know works with businesses of your size. So always feel free to email Latavia, email me, email any of the people on this panel, and we will make sure to connect you with the right resource. I mean, even beyond the folks who are here today, there are tons of different partners who are offering different loan programs, different education programs, different mentorship programs. So we're just happy to be the connectors for all of you.
Yes, no, and great point, Marcia. This is just, a segment of our great small business support community. It's not limited to just the I think 8 of us on here. There's plenty of more people out there who are eager to support you all, but we're just, a sample size of that group. Any other panelists wanted to add to kind of the programming conversation? Sonia or Elaine?
Sure. We just completed a procurement and contracting program where we had a keynote speaker from the US SBA talk about doing business with the federal government and federal programs and assistance for companies that want to do more work with them. We had panelists as well and other speakers who can help folks just navigate through how to really build your business by selling your products and services to major corporations and government agencies. And so we have the replay for that session and a handbook that we created, which lists out some different providers that specialize in that space. So there's that available for you. And then there's also coming up on exporting during Global Trade Week is coming up in May. And so, of course, LA Area Chamber of Commerce does a lot of great work in that area. And we're going to be doing a program similar to the procurement and contracting one that we did. We'll be doing that. And so we'll have a guidebook and we'll have sessions to help people just understand, many of the fastest growing markets in the world are outside of the United States. You can do business with Canada and Mexico right close by, but then you can go all around the world and you can start with e-commerce and just start selling online, see what countries you're actually getting orders from through your website, and then really double down and expand your sales into those countries. That helps them, the other countries, to get access to great American-made products, helps your company to grow as you create a new revenue stream than you have had before. And it also helps our local economy to grow, because as your business grows, you are employing people locally and you're paying taxes locally. And so it's really a win-win-win. So we want to encourage a lot of people to export, to build your business through international sales. And that's what we'll be talking about at our program on May 19th.
Thank you so much, Sonia. That's very, very exciting. Elaine?
I was just going to add, not necessarily programming, but a helpful tip for all of you that are on here listening to resources. I would say go to everybody's website as you're looking. Go to your LinkedIn page if you don't have one. This is a good time to just get one started and follow everyone that's on here, because most of us do a really good job at posting and or sharing whatever it is we're doing. I know Elizabeth posts a ton of things about her network if you're, looking to start up a business. I would also say the one thing that really helped when I was starting my business was to sign up for the newsletters. We spend a lot of time not just doing our own programming and curating our own programming and figuring out what we're going to present to you, but also sharing the resources that everyone else is working on this panel, beyond this panel, across the state. And I think right now, given that we're still virtual, it's a perfect opportunity to just kind of jump into everything and as much as you can. I know when we go back out into the world, it's going to get difficult again with traffic. And, pre-COVID, that was always a challenge of like, there's a great event happening on the West Side, but, I'm over in the Northridge. So how do I be, in two places at once? But right now, being virtual, it's really the best of both worlds. Even signing up for a webinar, and even if you're like not 100% there because you're working on your business, you can always get the recording later. I think the most important thing to remember as a business owner is that you have to spend time working in your business, but you also have to spend time working on your business. And so, a lot of the times we forget that those are two very different things. So, get connected, add us on LinkedIn, add us on to your newsletters. I think all of us have your newsletters. I know I get everyone's newsletters, and then I comb through information. I'm like, oh, this would be great for such and such person, or this would be great for, this, that, or the other. So like I said earlier, we really are a village of technical assistance providers that are here to support you. And that's really the great thing about LA. We all work really, really well together.
Thank you so much, Elaine. And since I have you on the screen, I'll go ahead and give you our final question for the day. Renee wants to know kind of some next steps for someone who's looking for investors and grants for a newer business. What would you say some just a couple next steps would be?
One, get connected with one or any of us here, first and foremost, and let's take a look at what you're working on to see how we can help you. I think those are the top two things.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Elaine. And with that, we only have 3 minutes. So I just really quickly want to show everyone a great tool that you can access to find your small business support network. If you are looking for more information about any of these great panelists or other organizations, my organization, Small Business Majority, has created and runs this tool called venturize.org. If you it's like a venture, but make it a verb is kind of how I describe it. Venturize. If you go to resources, and it's kind of hidden, so that's why I wanted to show everyone instead of just telling you to go to Venturize. But once you're in resources and you click search now, oh, my Wi-Fi is having a slow day. This beautiful map will pop up. You can type in your zip code. This is our Sherman Oaks zip code. And then this great list pops up. And I just wanted to highlight that there are all sorts of different assistance provider types on here. So we have our incubators, accelerators, our lenders, our retirement providers, business planning and strategy, financial tools and management, legal, licensing and permitting, marketing and research, contracting opportunities, mentoring and network, international trade. So that's a ton of different types of assistance that you can just find in a quick list instead of doing, hours and hours of Google searching. These are all vetted providers that we at Small Business Majority know and trust. They're our friends and we work with them very closely. So I highly encourage you all to even just plug in your zip code, take 5 minutes to look through this list. So that way some of those names stick in your mind when it comes time for maybe some legal licensing and permitting assistance. So we have the Los Angeles Women's Business Center, SoCal CDC, Managed Career Solutions, etc. The list goes on and on and on and on. But with that, we only have 1 minute left. So I'll go ahead and put our link to venturize.org into the chat. And I do just want to finally thank all of you attendees for joining us today, as well as all of our amazing panelists for making the time to share this great information with you all. And before we close, I would like to open the stage up to Marcia for any final closing remarks.
No closing remarks for me, other than be sure to follow us on Instagram for information about the next upcoming event and our upcoming grant programs.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Marcia. Any other final thoughts from any of our great panelists today?
Just thank you, Latavia, for putting this together. It's been fun.
Thank you so much, Sonia. And with that, it is exactly 11:30. So thank you all so much for joining us, and have a lovely Wednesday and the rest of the week. And we are all always here for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.